Hey there, and welcome to first-party data uses inside of HighLevel. I'm going to go ahead and get us started. My name is Haplin Milgrom Hills, and a little bit about me. I am part of HighLevel's product marketing team. I've got a master's degree, but my real credentials come in the form of being a former agency operator who scaled to 6 figures a month. Found HighLevel, discovered HighLevel, stumbled across HighLevel in 2018 and never looked back. I've had the privilege of using HighLevel since then, but I've only been working for the product marketing team for about the past year. But I've had the privilege to coach hundreds of businesses on HighLevel implementation, and I love leveraging software for quick and easy wins inside of small businesses. So now that you know a little bit more about me, let's learn a little bit about what HighLevel is. We're an all-in-one AI-powered sales and marketing platform with a global team of over 1,500 now, powering more than 80,000 customers, representing 600,000 businesses, millions of users worldwide, and we've generated billions with a B for our customers in revenue. So the plan today is really to help you get the most out of how to collect, organize, and leverage first-party data inside of HighLevel. And in order to kind of paint that picture, we're going to cover a few different product areas. Those are funnels, lead generation, tracking, CRM organization, and reactivation. So everything from pre-lead gen to actually collecting the data, to tracking that data, organizing that data, and then reactivation is really one of the best examples of how we leverage that data. So let's start with funnels. HighLevel has a fantastic website builder, funnel builder, online store builder that you can see illustrated in this GIF here. We can build funnels using AI, or we can also build funnels using templates. So it's really straightforward either way. AI is like templates on steroids. You can give it specific details about your business and have it create a custom template specifically for that business, or you can just scroll through our list of templates and customize from there. Of course, once you have a funnel built, that pulls up the entire website editor. This is inside of HighLevel. We have a full point-and-click user interface dedicated to helping you customize the look and feel of your landing pages. We can use AI to generate images or writing, improve the quality of writing, etc. So everything that you need to get a web page set up, you have available to you. Next up is actually generating leads. Once we have a website, we're ready to drive traffic from any source. What do we do to actually collect data? We use HighLevel's form builder. So again, we have a whole template collection, or you can build from scratch. Once you've selected a template, that will pull up the full user interface for customizing a form. When we customize the form, we can create custom fields, we can create logic so that certain answers route to different landing pages, different types of thank yous, etc. We can customize this to look however we want, and once it's ready, then we can go plug that into a funnel. So in this example, I'm just using a pop-up, showing the form addition to the pop-up and then setting that pop-up to show up automatically after 5 or so seconds. So if you're doing low ticket sales or retail, you could also have a lead generation element in exchange for like a lead magnet offering something for free in exchange for their contact info. Or if you have more of a high ticket funnel, then the form is probably the main call to action on that page, the first step being to opt in. Contact creation and organization and everything we're about to talk about in the rest of this presentation applies regardless of if you're using forms or payment checkouts or calendars or any of the other ways by which we collect contact information inside of HighLevel. Another great example of how to add leads is with a chat widget. So you can see here I'm in the settings, just simply adding a chat widget. We have a whole chat widget builder in another area of HighLevel, super accessible, point and click, very similar to forms and funnels, but then you can add it to any given web page with just a toggle, which is super easy to do. Save those settings, and now on that page I can have a live conversation with a team member or with an AI bot. And one of the neat things about chat widgets is that obviously once a new conversation starts, we won't have any contact info collected yet. However, a contact profile is created either way with the name guest and without any phone number or email. And as we collect that information, the system automatically updates it. So you can see I just put the test@test.com email in this example, and now that field has been automatically updated into the email field. Similarly, after the email is updated, then I put a name into that chat. I say John Smith, and now the first name and last name in the contact profile dynamically updates to John Smith as well. So those are two examples of how to generate leads from a funnel with HighLevel. We have forms, we have a chat widget. There are other things we could do too. We could do tap to text buttons, or you can get more creative. Obviously, calendars will collect contact information as well if you're booking appointments. And of course, if you have a product product checkout page. If you're selling low ticket or retail, then those order forms will also collect and create contacts inside of HighLevel. But now that we've covered that, let's move on to tracking. We have amazing tracking resources inside of HighLevel for leads from all sources. So here in this page, in this example, I'm actually in a workflow that has the action add to Google Analytics. This is if you're using Google Analytics and you want to make sure that your organic reach is pulling in the right people, etc. I can have any action inside of the platform that I want send data back to Google Analytics to have it be tracked. So in this example, the trigger is the form being filled out. I have this application form, and every time I have that application filled out, I actually want to send that data to Google Analytics and have Google Analytics track that. So I have this action add to Google Analytics, which is great. So now we'll see in the Google Analytics platform that event is being properly tracked. This all works similarly for Meta as well. So if you're running Facebook or Instagram ads, you can send that data back to Instagram and Facebook. But I actually want to show off an even cooler example of how we track things inside of HighLevel. We have an entire ad manager platform where you can sync up your Meta account and then launch and manage Meta ads from inside of HighLevel. This actually also applies to Google ads and will very soon apply to Bing, LinkedIn ads, as well as YouTube. Just to be clear though, that is around the corner. Right now it's just Google AdWords and Meta, so Facebook and Instagram. But here in this little GIF, this is actually a GIF taken from a video inside of HighLevel. So this is on the HighLevel platform. I'm looking at a 3-month giveaway campaign, and I can see all the analytics that I need to in terms of impressions, clicks, cost per conversion, the total ad spend, etc. So this is really cool because this is like the front end ad tracking, and then when it comes to the actions that a user takes or the actions that a lead takes after that, their actual journey down the sales pipeline. Did they buy? Did they book an appointment? Did they show up for that appointment? Have they clicked on this or that email marketing? Basically what that means is once we collect that contact information and we have the contact generated inside of the system, we have the ability to then track all the rest of their activity and send that back to these platforms for optimizing future advertising. So it's basically like the idea of once they land on your website, being able to track which buttons they click, what pages they land on, all those things that we're already familiar with. HighLevel allows you to do that with all sorts of other things. Did they respond to a text message? Did they click on a link inside of an email? Anything that HighLevel controls or that HighLevel has the ability to discern or detect or sense, it will track. And we have all kinds of integrations with other softwares as well. So if they have a particular activity inside of QuickBooks or Shopify, all of that can come in as well. And we can send that data in the form of event names or conversion APIs. So that's how tracking works inside of HighLevel. 2 quick examples. Now let's move on to understand more of what it really means to have a contact inside of HighLevel, because like I said, you can see everything that you need to see about them over time. So here's an example of a contact profile. This is Haplin test here, and we can see we've got name, email, phone number. That's pretty straightforward. The contact source, which is helpful, and we can do reporting on as well. And then over here on the right, we can see any of the web pages that they visited linked to this sub account. So if I have a funnel or a website or whatever, I can see every different page they visited, what kind of activity they've been up to. And that's just the activities tab. We also have the ability to assign tasks, create notes, book appointments. There's a scheduler built right in there. We can see whatever kind of documents, invoices, proposals, etc. There's a whole documents platform. So if we're doing a lot of document sending, e-signature type stuff, all of that will be reported inside of the contact profile. Payments, every dollar they've ever paid us and what was it for and when, all that transactions, being able to run refunds, etc. all managed from inside here. And then right here in the middle is a full conversation thread in and of itself. So we have SMS, WhatsApp, and email all consolidated into a single conversation thread. Every message has a little icon next to it that denotes what channel it came in through. So you'll be able to tell what was SMS, what was email, and what was WhatsApp, but it's all housed right there together. And this is crazy because I don't have it in this demo, but if you integrate Facebook and Instagram, you have the ability to integrate those messengers as well, so that when your business starts conversations on Messenger, filter, it creates contacts with those channels. And then again, similar to the chat widget, as phone number and email get rounded out and the contact info gets gathered, it will automatically add those, and then you'll actually have access to 5 different communication channels all in a single conversational thread with all the history for all time for that lead. There's also a full conversations tab inside of HighLevel that lets you look at like an inbox, so you can manage conversations en masse all at once, etc. It's just like a traditional inbox that has the exact same thing, all of these different channels consolidated into a single conversation thread, contact by contact. You can filter to unreads, all that good stuff. This leads a lot of small businesses to change their approach when it comes to conversations. We know that conversations are pivotal and really helpful in helping leads take steps down a sales process. Having a positive conversation that builds trust with an organization, huge step forward in eventually becoming a sale. And once businesses see the power of this, they're way more likely to lean into conversations, either run ads straight to Messenger or do a lot of SMS lead nurturing after that form gets filled. HighLevel's built to handle all of that and is intended to help you scale those conversations so you can scale lead generation while still leaning into live two-way conversation. Which, speaking of which, you can either plug in a sales team to manage conversations if you want to be more conversational, or you can have conversation AI handle those. I'm not going to go super deep into that on this presentation, but basically you can click a toggle and have AI manage all of your SMS, WhatsApp, Instagram messaging, Facebook messaging, as well as that live chat widget conversation when people just chat with you directly on your website. So that all said, you don't have to go more conversational, but it can be really helpful in propelling more people, getting them further down the sales process and clearing up bottlenecks in the sales process, etc. And the best part is, if you do go more conversational, you don't have to put all the manpower into getting those conversions manually. You can just have conversation AI do it. An AI bot will manage all of them. It can send booking links. It can actually read a calendar and put people directly into a calendar. So if you're trying to do appointment setting or just FAQs, product related questions, if you're doing low ticket or retail, it can be really helpful to have a bot that just lives in the chat widget or lives in any of these channels. There's also fallbacks. So if you want to kind of get the best of both worlds, you can have it suggest messages, you can train it in real time, etc. So that's enough about AI, but basically you have that option if you want to be more conversational, and it's just baked right into the contact profile. That all said, now that we know what the journey looks like for a single contact profile inside of HighLevel, let's turn to consider now what it looks like to organize and leverage contacts in mass. In this GIF, you can see that we have a full CRM view with a whole list of contacts. I've just blurred out their contact information, but what we really have is just a full list of contacts, and then on the right side of the page, a full list of filters. We can filter to almost anything we want. So I think in this example, I'm just filtering to all the contacts whose phone number is not empty. And then I think I add last activity 5 days or more. So this is going to filter out everyone who doesn't have a phone number and who's been active in the last 5 days. Just a demo example, there's hundreds of different factors that we can segment lists on, and then we can actually save that as a smart list. I'm naming it here as phone number plus more than 5 days, hit save, and now that's a saved filter. So now I have this smart list save. Every time I revisit my contacts page, we'll see it again when the GIF comes back around. Up at the top, there'll just be a list of the different smart lists that we've made. We can have as many as we want. This allows us to create segments of the list, zeroing in razor sharp targeting based on almost any characteristic or attribute that we can find inside of any contact's profile. We can even filter based on custom fields as well. So if I add custom fields, collect that data in my form, then I can go to different types of answers for that. If it's radio or drop down, or even if it's just straight up text, I can filter based on that as well. So when it comes to last activity more than 5 days ago, it's not just going to be that static snapshot that I'm seeing every time. Seeing that filter in the smart list means every time I click that smart list, it's going to be dynamically set to in the last 5 days from now, whenever now is, whether that's today, tomorrow, next week, etc. Okay, so that's a great introduction to contacts and how we manage and organize a big list full of leads, segmenting them into smart lists as we go. But now the real question is, what do we do with that? How do we actually leverage and see value long term from all this first party data we're collecting? Well, we already talked about how to set up automated actions that will send the data back to third parties like Facebook and Google for optimized tracking, optimized targeting, optimized ad conversions. But beyond that, we have this beautiful tactic that I want to focus a little bit on called database reactivation. We can reactivate our lists or a segment of our list directly with direct response marketing in the channels that we already have access to. So in this visual, what I'm doing here is I'm actually running bulk actions. You can select a group of contacts, either the entire list or just a segment based on your smart list. Then you have a whole list of bulk actions you can run, including send SMS, send email, send WhatsApp, and or really the most powerful one is just add to workflow, which means you can automate a bunch of different steps. So you could do all three at once. If you have a workflow set up, you can add all of these contacts to that workflow, which basically means you can just run a promotion directly into all those leads' phones. So now on top of whatever kind of drip automations you set up, an email drip, a newsletter that you're running, whatever the case is, you can also just do one-off seasonal promotions straight into SMS, generate conversations on a big old list, and you can use that list to either follow up with people who may have slipped through the cracks the first time they were really building momentum down the sales process. Maybe when they first became a lead, the timing was wrong, or they had some kind of personal matter that had them fall off the wagon. This can be a great way just to reinstigate the conversation, follow up one more time, get them taking steps down the path to become a sale again. You can also use it to generate repeat buyers and repeat upon repeat upon repeat buyers. Businesses also use this mechanism to do things like request reviews or just send updates. Maybe there's no call to action, you just want to get a message out to your customer base. Great way to do that. It just opens up the conversational floodgates for you to be able to go engage your list over and over and over again, so that once somebody becomes a lead, they don't just get like an email follow-up or maybe one or two SMS or whatever. They get into a marketing ecosystem that involves continual engagement, evergreen engagement, seasonal promotions, targeted messages based on their specific journey. So what this means is that over time, your marketing gets better and better and better, and it starts to snowball. You start to see the results of the compound effect, because in your first month of any paid ads campaign, let's say you're running ads on Facebook, you put $1,000 in, you get 100 leads out, and whatever kind of conversion you get from that is what you get, right? And that's what we're used to. Maybe 10% conversion, okay, whatever. And then in the old way of doing things, the next month you'd pay another $1,000 for another 100 leads and see what the conversion is there, and you'd try to dial in your ads, and you'd maybe try to have better follow-up. But now with this type of a system, with this marketing ecosystem, what it means is that month 2, now you have 200 leads in the database that you're following up with. Month 3, 300 total leads. So every month your marketing list grows and grows, which means every time you reach out to that list, the results compound. This brings up a big question about compliance, which is a huge issue. In reality, doing everything I just described is not an easy thing to do outside of HighLevel, but HighLevel makes it really easy because all of this infrastructure that I've shown you with regards to the way we generate leads, with regards to the way you even sign up to get a phone number, everything is fully compliant, and HighLevel actually helps you with compliance. We hold your hand through the compliance process, make sure your SMS number is registered. We also have support for compliant WhatsApp messaging, so you're taken care of on that side as well. And then beyond just the getting set up, which we take very seriously and make sure everything is compliant, when it comes to the actual conversations, it will happen and is natural to happen. It's part of the list management process that people want to opt out. They'll receive a message from the business and say, hey, I don't want to get messages anymore, etc. We have perfectly compliant features in app that allow us to mark somebody do not disturb, and also allows somebody to opt out without us doing anything with via keyword like the word stop, etc. So everything is buttoned up from a compliance standpoint, from a legal standpoint, but also from a results standpoint. It's really good for our business or our clients' businesses' reputation to be able to continually engage leads, to let them know that we're right there, to get closer to them in conversation. But it's also really important for our reputation that we don't send messages that people don't want to receive. So that's really important. You want to make sure that you're taking care of your list, that you're managing your list. You want to do that with responsibility and discipline, so that over the long term, you know that you have a healthy list. Your degree of confidence in your ability to reactivate your list should be high at all times. That's really, really hard to do, takes a lot of organization, but when you do it with HighLevel, it's pretty much automated. All the infrastructure is right there to make sure that your list is automatically managed, that it's healthy, that it's compliant, and that you can have a very high degree of confidence in running this kind of reactivation type of tactic. So just to recap, kind of the bottom line here, using HighLevel, you can build and deploy funnels. You can run organic or paid traffic and add leads from any source possible, basically. We can even webhook leads in. There's a lot of different lead source stuff that we didn't even talk about, but you can run ads to that funnel and track everything perfectly. You can collect first-party data compliantly and with confidence from all these different sources, have that organized perfectly for you inside of a CRM that has conversations associated with every single contact. But within that CRM, we can create segments of the list based on specific actions, specific points down the sales journey, and we can develop razor sharp marketing techniques for those leads so that now when we run our advertising campaign, it's not just we generated a lead, did they buy or not? They didn't, okay, they're gone. Now it's even if they didn't buy, they're still a part of the list. They're going to continue to receive marketing until they buy again, until they become a repeat customer, however many times, and ultimately opt out of the process. Basically, until they tell us to stop, we're going to keep on engaging them. This type of control allows us to build a long-term data strategy at any scale. So now, if we get 100 leads, we're doing the same thing. 200, 500, 1,000, we're still doing the same thing. 10,000 leads in the database, we can still do the same thing. It doesn't take any more time. We can engage our leads more often and more accurately depending on where they're at in the sales process. That is the best way to make use of first-party data. That's the best way to maximize conversions from every lead you generate. No more generating a high number of leads and then seeing a low number conversions, being worried that you have leaks in the sales bucket, that a lot of leads are falling off the wagon, they're falling out of the journey, they're not getting engaged, etc. This process plugs up all the leaks so that every lead you add in, you can have a high degree of confidence that the most is being done to maximize the conversion from step to step to step all the way down the sales process. And that brings us to the end. And so in conclusion, I'll just say first-party data is really, really important, especially to small businesses, local businesses, etc. So many of them get this wrong. They underestimate the value of just creating a marketing list. So many of these businesses are engaged in advertising or lead generation in some form. They have websites, right? But they're not doing a good job of organizing their contacts, creating that marketing list, keeping that marketing list compliant, handling it responsibly, but ultimately leveraging it to its full extent. HighLevel is the best tool that I've ever seen for being able to do that, not just with efficacy, but with scale, with efficiency, right? So not only does it work really well, but HighLevel allows us to do this with any scale. It allows us to double down on our ads that are working. It allows us to actually see what's working and understand why it's working. Ultimately, it allows us to relax, knowing that these processes are being handled automatically and that everything is taken care of at any size or scale, especially these compliance pieces. So that is all I got. Thank you guys so much again for watching, and I hope to see you in the community.